say good morning to all of my many friends, also to my many enemies. Once again, this is another episode of Roosevelt Sounds Off, and I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, rating, commenting, and subscribing. Tell everybody to subscribe to the channel, and if you like this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. Everything is very much appreciated from my heart to yours. Okay, I'm not going to be before you too long on this morning, which is December 12th, 2018. But I just had to come to you with this very quick video, which in other words for me is kind of like a praise report. And you see the title. I decided to call this video Our Victory Against the CPD. What I'm talking about is on September 7th of this year, 2018, my godson was stopped by two police officers, an Officer David and an Officer Marcos Hernandez, who work, I believe they work out of the police station on Ogden on the west side of Chicago, or either the one on Harrison, because it's two police stations that kind of patrol that particular area on the west side where they stay. That's right off of like 13th and Kedzie. And these two officers, when my godson was going to the store, saw him, and so they decided to stop him. And one thing I didn't like, because I did get a chance to see the body cam video of the whole thing, Officer Hernandez was the first officer who stopped him, and I did not like how he cursed when he told him, "Man, get the fuck over here." And then my godson tried to say something. He's like, "Shut the hell up." And then so they didn't search him outside. Now they were already outside. It's not like the weather was bad. They decided to bring him in the store and to search him. And you know, they didn't find anything, so they kept on searching him until they happened to find a gun. But the gun was unloaded. You know, so they took him in, and you know, of course, and stuff, they went through the regular preliminaries. And you know, he was put, you know, on probation, I guess, until the, you know, trial. Now, the first time we were in court was on November 11th, but the two officers didn't show up because they claim Officer Hernandez was injured on duty, and of course, you know me, I say good. And Officer David, I guess, didn't show up. So they had continued it, which as far as I'm concerned, that, you know, the officers, they represent the state, so if the state isn't ready, that's nobody else's fault. As far as I'm concerned, the case should have been thrown out the first time. So they continue it until yesterday, which is December 11th, and now they're saying that Officer Hernandez is still injured on duty, and of course, again, I say good. And Officer David forgot about the whole thing. So the state's attorney was still trying to continue the case up until January 11th of 2019. But in the end, you know, they had, the judge says that, you know, she was going to forget about the whole thing, that she was going to grant the defense motions, that since the state wasn't ready, since these two officers were not ready or weren't, you know, there. Well, Officer David, he showed up, and because he said he forgot, so he showed up late. You know, since one of the other ones, Officer Hernandez, wasn't there, you know, they were going to forget about the whole thing. But of course, you know, they did tell my godson just to stay out of trouble. And one thing I want to deal with in this whole thing is the violation of people's rights. Because now my godson says that he was only walking out the back of his door going to the store. So the officers didn't have any reason to stop him. But yesterday, according to officers' reports, they claim, which is a total lie according to, you know, what everything is, that they saw my godson loitering on the corner with two other individuals who were known gang members, and they said that they saw him put something in his waistband that appeared to be a firearm. But still, as far as I'm concerned, officers still got to have more, you know, probable cause in order to stop someone. And in that particular area, I mean, you had the police pretty much kind of patrolling that area of the West Side like it's some kind of a third world occupied country. And one thing I know is that we are free, or at least supposed to be free anyway, as citizens, to be able to walk the street without being bothered with officers like Officer David and Officer Hernandez. And after the whole thing was over, Officer David walks past my godson's up like, "Oh, see you later, bro." Dude, what is that? I wish I would have heard it, or completely saw him. I mean, what was that supposed to mean? I probably would have got up in his face myself if I, could have. I mean, to me, this is crazy. And sometimes whenever the initial stop was wrong, like in this case, according to what my godson says, because I'm not believing or buying the narrative of these two officers of the Chicago Police Department at all. According to what my godson says, they just stopped him with just no reason, like they stopped a whole lot of other people around there. That's not his first time being stopped. They stopped him and one or two of his friends that he was walking with sometime last year and just wanted to search them. And when they didn't find anything, they just let them go. And plus, it's just how they act and how they speak to people. I mean, they don't treat the citizens around there with any kind of respect or any kind of courtesy. The first thing that they always want to do is raise their voice or curse at them. But yet they're supposed to be the professional. But yet they'd be willing to lock us up if we cursed at one of them. And I think that is so hypocritical, because they're the ones who are the professional. We're not. So out of everyone, they have to conduct themselves with better behavior, because they're the ones who represent the state. They're the police officer. They're the ones who's getting paid by the citizens of this country, in this city. We are not. So the initial stop was wrong, which leads me to something else that I saw that's being played right now on HBO, and that is the documentary of the life and the death of Sandra Bland. As many of you all know, who followed me for a couple of years or so, that I did cover extensively the death of Sandra Bland when it took place in July of 2015. And from some of you all who remember that video, I took that video and I had it playing and I broke down that entire stop from beginning to end. And, some people, when she was found dead in her cell, thought that, because she was mentally unfit or, had depression and lost a child like a year or something before, blah, 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 that she hung herself. But I even had one friend of mine, and even, matter of fact, not only one, but several people who I know who, after they saw that documentary, actually believe that, in between the Prairieville police department or the Texas State Troopers or the sheriff's department, that she was actually killed in custody, because it was like 2 or 3 other mysterious deaths in that particular jail as well that were mysterious. And it's crazy, but I think overall it was a good documentary. I think it broke things down pretty well. But one thing I'm trying to get to, my point in the whole thing is saying all of that, is to also say that Sandra Bland never would have been in jail in the first place if the initial stop was right. The initial stop when Officer Brian Acina stopped Sandra Bland on that, street in Prairie View, Texas, the way he conducted that was wrong. In the end, he was suspended and fired because they said that he broke protocol. So sometimes this is just the way I feel. Whenever the initial stop is wrong, whatever it is that they find, whether it's drugs, whether it's a gun, whether it's anything, completely needs to be thrown out, because the officer in the beginning did not do the right thing. And as far as I'm concerned, that if you start out, if you do right, then you'll end up being right in the end. I mean, but this does not dismiss, and I talked to my godson about this too, that this does not dismiss his behavior, because I told him that even though the officers I feel were wrong in this particular case, that no matter what, you know, him, and not only him, I think that every single young person, or all of us who are citizens of this city, also have to be found doing the right thing. You know, don't walk around with drugs. Don't walk around with guns. You know, stay in school. Go to work. Go to church. Because if you're doing these kind of things and filling your life up with positive things, then it won't be a case of you getting into it with police or having police stop you because you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. If you're found going to work or going to church or going to school, then you won't be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But of course, we know, you know, who are members of the so-called African American community in this country, that these kind of things, no matter what it is that we are doing, you know, still continue to happen, because you could be going to work or coming from work and have some type of stupid, racist, overzealous officer or officers like Officer Hernandez or Officer David just stop you for no reason, who just want to search you, hoping to find something on you. And if they don't find anything on you, maybe want to plant something on you, because Chicago Police Department, they're known to do that, and to put a case on you. So we know that you could be doing good things and have this kind of stuff happen to you. But at the same time, just because this kind of stuff happens, I mean, you can far lessen your chances of it happening if you're just found doing the right thing. So one thing I am proud of my godson for doing is that he was in a GED program, and yes, he did finish, and his grades in the GED program were pretty good. So the thing that he's waiting to do now is to do the GED test, and he actually has a goal of, you know, possibly, you know, getting a job and maybe working by December of 2019. So that I'm hoping that he still continues to stick to that, and I'm hoping that he does fulfill that goal, and I'm hoping that he, as well as other young people who could be watching this video, continue on to do the right thing and just strive for positivity. So that is my little praise report. You know, speaking on behalf of my godson, that, you know, I am glad that this case is over, and that yes, he can move on to bigger and brighter things. So at this point, that's where I am going to leave it. If anybody liked this video, be sure to do me a favor, give me a big thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. In a brief programming note before I leave, that next week will be my year-end special. You know, I do a big special every single year, a couple of days before my birthday, which is December 22nd, and that's usually the last video I do for the year. So I want everybody to stay tuned for that, where I'll be giving a brief synopsis of every single thing that I have done and all of the accomplishments that I have made on Roosevelt Sounds Off in the last year, which was a whole lot. I think I've had a bigger subscriber base this year and more views this year than any other year that I have been on YouTube, and that goes to the credit of you all who are the viewers. Thank you very much for subscribing, and even ones who just have stumbled upon me, even people who just happen just to stop by every now and then. I appreciate you also. So right now, that is where I am going to leave it. Like I said, if anybody liked this video, give me a thumbs up and be sure to comment and subscribe. Peace and blessings to all.